Oh man, Morris and Lucifero are about to take over. Another plot twist went down in this arc in Black Clover Chapter 311. Lucifero betrayed the Dark Triad, but more in particular Dante. Lotus betrayed Morris. A lot of things went down. Some exciting stuff to talk about in this chapter, but guys, as always, before we start, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel with notification bells on if you are new. I appreciate it so much in advance. Now let's talk about Black Clover Chapter 311, Returning Alive. Alright, so we begin this chapter with the conclusion and the defeat of Zenon by the hands of Yuno. And Zenon talks about that ever since the day he met Yuno, there is always something about him that reminds him of himself. So Zenon asked the question to Yuno. He said, "You and I, where do we differ?" Because we already know that Yuno and Zenon, there is a strong parallel between these characters that Tabata has set up. And Yuno responds by saying, "I don't know. I'm still in the middle of a bond that I made with them." Which we already know that he is referring to the bond that he made with Asta and the goal to become Wizard King, which is one of the driving factors for them to become Magic Knights, which in Zenon's and Alan's case, they had the same thing where they became Magic Knights, made vows as well, and became rivals because these two both wanted to become the commander-in-chief of the Spade Kingdom's defense force. So when Yuno mentioned the vow that he made with Asta, this made Zenon kind of reflect and think about the vow that he made with Alan, because we already know that Zenon is Yuno without an Asta. If Yuno was put in a situation exactly like how Zenon was, Yuno would have been just like Zenon, but they had different circumstances. So this can still happen in the future because Julius did predict Asta's death in the beginning of this whole arc. So if this were to happen, Yuno will go a little crazy. I don't think he'll be on some Zenon type beat where he can get a devil himself, because this man has two grimoires and a spirit. He does not need a devil. Like, he don't need to be that strong. But if Asta dies, Yuno will change. He will definitely change, and we see that change in Zenon. Him and Yuno would be so much alike if Alan stayed alive, but you know, they are the same but two sides of the same coin, and that's what made this rivalry so perfect. We then see Asta, and I gotta say, it's been a while since we saw Asta. It feels such a long time. And we see Liba as well, and the whole gang, and they're near the area where Yuno and Zenon were fighting at. And Asta's like, oh my goodness, the whole place is collapsing. What's going on? And we then see Nock fuse with his cat devil to get a better insight on how that battle went down between Yuno and Zenon, which a lot of people thought that some of Nock's devils actually died in a battle between Nama and Lilith, because we did see their face cracked and we just seen a whole puddle of just their negative mana. But seeing his cat devil here, this lets us know that they both survived. Nock did inform Asta and the others that Zenon was defeated by the hands of Yuno. And now so he starts sweating, but he's also excited like, wow, my rival, Yuno defeated Zenon. That's awesome. That's good to hear. And Asta is smiling while saying this, but you can tell this only adds fire to their competition to their race to become the Wizard King. You can see the entire competitiveness all in his face. Nock then goes on to say with this, all the Dark Triad members are defeated. Now with Dante, it's very unclear if he's dead or not, but knowing Jack, he probably did a final blow, so I wouldn't be surprised. Vanica is the one that's kind of up in the air because I don't think she's dead. But Zenon, his body is disintegrating because he became an entire devil, and we know that when they die, their body is disintegrating. So he might be the only one for now, but I don't think the whole Dark Triad storyline is done, mainly because Tabata introduced this older sibling with the plot line of the undying bodies. So I would not be surprised if Zenon is dead, he comes back alive, which I will talk about in a whole different video. Because honestly, when it comes to death in Black Clover, let's be honest, you never know. You never know. However, despite the defeat of the Dark Triad and Zenon's confirmed and unconfirmed death, because we never know, Nock talks about that the Dark Triad is defeated, but why is the advent of the Tree of Qliphoth, why is it still going? It's not even slowing down, so why hasn't it stopped? Because before Morris got into the picture, the whole plan was to stop the Dark Triad, because then that would slow down the entire ritual, but it's not slowing down, and we see that the Spirit Guardians outside fighting the low-ranking devils and mid-ranking devils, they talk about no matter how many they defeat, they keep coming, knowing that eventually they're going to tap out of mana. We do a quick transition and we go back to the Clover Kingdom, and Marks, he sees Julius is panting, he just nervous, and he asks Julius, is everything alright? And Julius talks about that something is odd. Somehow I feel like something terrible is about to happen, and man, he was right. Because Julius has this naturally gifted sixth sense. When he makes a prediction on things, he hasn't missed yet. You can never say Julius is capping about anything because he is undefeated with the cap. And that's when we see Dorothy facing off with Morris. And I gotta say, I was a little bit disappointed on this part of the chapter because it seemed as though their fight is already at the tail end. And I really wanted to see time skip Dorothy's ability, which I'm pretty sure we should still see based on the way the fight is set up and the way the chapter ended. But I wish that we didn't get a off-screen situation between Dorothy and Morris, because this fight seemed as though it was extremely intense, because Morris even compliments Dorothy's glamour world. He's like, glamour magic, I really like it. It's really invincible. But with my magic combined with the devil's power, it can even interfere with concepts. And we see that this man is reconstructing devils that have been destroyed, which I would have loved to see Dorothy's glamour world destroying these devils in her tag team fight with Lotus, because Lotus betrayed Morris. Morris talked about that Lotus was going to betray, which I did make a video predicting that Lotus would not work with Morris because he's trying to look out for his family. And he lost an entire arm, so we missed that whole sequence of him betraying Dorothy and Lotus fighting together, Lotus losing an arm. I really wanted to see that, because this battle had to be crazy, so when the anime returns, I hope they actually extend that part of the story. But when Morris called Lotus out for betraying, Lotus responds saying that the world that you're trying to create does not seem like the world where my family can be in with laughter. Morris responds by saying family sentiments is something I no longer require, which makes me think that this man had a horrible childhood, which I'm expecting a crazy backstory for Morris. However, he goes on to continue and say, "For I am but a messenger for the strongest devil Lucifero." And we see that there's a mouth on his head, and it's Lucifero speaking, saying, "Unlike Dante, you know exactly what you're talking about." Now we fully know why Morris and Dante share the same markings, the same devil markings. Lucifero is so strong to the point where now we know that two people can make a contract with the devil, the exact same devil. And that's probably why Morris laughed when Dante was defeated, because he's like, hey, I'm working with Lucifero as well. And during Dante's final moments fighting Magna, he talks about that he lost his devil connection to Lucifero. There is possibly no way that Morris told the Dark Triad and informed anyone that he is a devil host and he had made a contract with Lucifero. There is no way. And this entire situation gets even more crazier the way the chapter continues on. When Megikila came out, she said that Lucifero seemed to not notice us yet. However, Lucifero informed in this part of the panel that he knew exactly what was going on. However, Lucifero mentioned that the second gate will open soon, and once it does, I will come forth. We were told that Lucifero is on the bottom. So this means that during the second gate, he's going to show up. And not only that, Yami and William are going to die. We see their bodies are cracking. It's getting close. Because if Lucifero comes out, it's the end of the world, like Nox said. But there is a reason why Morris explained why Lucifero is coming out the second gate and not the last. He explains that he remade the Tree of Qliphoth with his magic, which is why the Dark Triad isn't needed anymore. Now, this can mean two things for Lucifero for him to come out too early. Either Morris rearranged the entire Tree of Qliphoth and also the gate levels, or Lucifero just said, screw it, I'm going to the next level and I'm just going to come out next because I'm sick of waiting. Either way, this isn't good for anybody, not even Morris himself. I don't even see what he gains out of this, but he wouldn't be doing this without a goal in mind that's to his benefit. We then see Morris using reconstruction magic, fusing devils together by creating a new body for them, which then reconstruction makes a lot of sense because it lets me know how he was able to fuse grimoires together. Morris then tells Dorothy and Lotus that let's witness the Demon King come out together, that's if you survive long enough. And before Morris was going to do a final strike against Lotus, we see the Black Bulls hideout with Henry. We see all the Black Bulls. We also see Gordon, which you guys already know. I've been asking for Gordon since the beginning of this year. Like, I've been asking for him. And they scream out saying that they are here to save Captain Yami. Now, this battle looked like it's going to take place on a huge scale because we have Gray, Vanessa, Gordon, Ghost, Lotus, Dorothy versus Morris, Henry as well. This is going to be crazy. But I do not see any of them winning. I think eventually everyone is going to make their way towards Morris because he's going to be too much. I can see them trying to get the upper hand on Morris, but I just think he's way too strong. Like, this is set up as like a final boss. Plus that shiny general that has been in a silhouette this entire arc, and also in the beginning of this story, which we did see in the middle, I can see him joining in the fight to help Morris. He's definitely going to join, like you joining my community by subscribing to the channel with notification bells on to see more Black Clover content right to your YouTube feed. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves. Stay blessed. And I'm out.